And we are ready to move on to our third presentation this afternoon. And that comes from Michelle Rubino and Rachel Peterson, both of our wonderful GTC Library, who are here to tell us more about GTC Library tools for understanding AI. So Rachel and Michelle, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I will stop my screen share so that you can share with us.
Great, thank you, Rachel. Go ahead and share the screen and get started. So what we are doing this afternoon is we are just going to briefly review some of the resources that are available on our ChatGPT and AI research guide. And I am going to pop the link to this guide into the chat so everyone can have it. Okay. So this guide was built in collaboration between your librarians and the Faculty Senate Subcommittee. And then it was augmented with content from a guide created by our consortium, Pascal. For anyone who has not used a research guide, you navigate through them using the tabs over on the left. And just on this first page, I'd like everyone to notice in the resources box at the bottom, there are links to GTC specific resources, including that academic misconduct referral form that Mimi just spoke about. So I will turn it over to Rachel to talk about prompt engineering.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about prompt engineering. So we are going to, again, go to the menu on the left, go down to AI and teaching, scroll down a little, and you will see writing quality prompts. Again, prompt engineering, that's what that is, writing the prompts and creating the prompts you're going to put into the AI tool that you are using for your paper and or project. So prompt engineering is about creating effective queries or instructions that steer your specific tool's results for the output that best matches what you are looking for. Some practical strategies for using these prompts. You want to make sure that you're being clear and being specific about your queries. You want to use examples and context so the tool knows where to go with this. Experiment with length. So longer, shorter, make sure that you are using it correctly so you can get the best results. Make sure that you're putting in constraints and guidelines. If you need a specific amount of words in an essay, make sure that you're putting those guidelines in. Iterate and refine. This is like proofreading your paper. So proofread your prompts, make sure that you are getting what you need from your tool, and take some time to understand the model that you are using. So not only you understand it, but you can explain to your students as well what they are going to be using and how to use it. Below that, you can see some example prompts. Again, we want to be as specific as we can. So as opposed to saying something like, tell me about renewable energy, you can use a prompt like, provide a concise overview of the economic and environmental benefits of renewable energy, as opposed to traditional energy sources. You see some creative writing prompt requests, as well as historical analysis requests. At the bottom in this gray section, you see the attribution and acknowledgement of the use of AI. And I will go over that a little bit more when we talk about citation for AI tools. But I am going to go ahead and give it back to Michelle to talk a little bit about Credo tutorials.
All right, so I will scroll back to the top. So to help teach students how to use AI ethically in the classroom and in the workforce, you can use these tools in the teaching resources from GTC Libraries box. I'll talk about that AI literacy link in just a moment, but please notice there is a link to our embeddable tutorials below this. So you may have heard us talk about our Credo tutorials before. They can be embedded into Blackboard. Directions for doing so are in this link down at the bottom. But what they've done is they have now included relevant discussion about how AI relates to the topics in these tutorials. If we look at this AI literacy link, This will lead to discussion prompts and also active learning suggestions. Some of these, as I said, are just discussion. Others are actual activities that ask students to use AI and kind of experiment with it. So you can talk about the results. So when designing these activities wherein students use AI, we must first verify institutional use parameters. I understand those are still, under construction. And then remind students of the privacy and confidentiality concerns. For example, anything they input becomes a learning tool for the AI, and then prepare to offer an alternative to students who don't want to use AI for those reasons, or students who may not have an account set up already. One example of a free-to-use account not required tool is Perplexity AI, which is linked on that AI and teaching page. And then just keep in mind that when you talk about those privacy and confidentiality concerns, that can lead to a greater conversation about other issues pertaining to AI. And if you look here, there is a whole page of information with different discussion prompts about how to discuss AI with students. And of course, we can use this with colleagues. One activity I did want to briefly describe was this AI writing and independent writing comparison activity. So what you do is you have a writing prompt that requires the author to express a personal opinion and provide examples from personal experiences. This is given to both students and fed into AI. And then you have the students do a self-evaluation. What did they do better than AI or not? After the self-evaluation, you can, as Rachel just spoke about, revise your prompt, feed it back into AI, and then analyze how that went. Did your revision help or did it not? You can also do a peer review. So you can collect all of the compositions that have been created and then pass them out to other students and have the students grade them according to a rubric. It can be very simplistic. And then talk about why they graded as such and who can tell whether the composition they graded was AI or student created. And then finally, what you could do if you wanted to is you could personally collect some of the AI created compositions, grade them according to your rubric, and then have a discussion with students about why they were graded as such. Another activity is this grid activity suggestion, and I'm going to bring that up because there is a bit of a visual. And this is something that you can use with both students and as a PD with your department, division, school, whomever. So you create a grid or axis, and here in the example, they use acceptability and use parameters, but you could do pros and cons, time savings and effectiveness, or others. And acceptability can range from 0 tolerance all the way to acceptable or allowed. And then the use parameters can range from use only if a citation is provided to use is entirely not allowed. So what you do is you have your students or your attendees plot activities on this grid and then discuss. And this can lead to a class contract, a department contract, or even eventually to policies. And it's very helpful because they can see all of these activities plotted out and it shows the spectrum. So it's helpful for visual learners. So I will go back to our guide. And speaking of policy, if we click on AI and academic integrity, up at the top, there is a blanket statement for addressing the use of AI. And if we scroll a little bit further down, this has been adapted for how use is acceptable or not. 0 use to encouraged use to some use of AI. Also over on the left, we have a link to the SCTCS student code. And then if we scroll down under these additional resources, down at the bottom, we actually have a link to GPT-0. We will need to add in some of those other detection systems that you spoke about, Mimi, but just keep in mind that no detection system is infallible and their effectiveness will change as new versions of chatbots become available. So I'll turn it back over to Rachel to talk about citations.
All right. So oftentimes this semester I have gotten questions from faculty about how, if my students are going to use AI, how do I cite that? So if we go ahead and scroll up, we go to the 4th tab here, citing AI. We have a bunch of information on how to do that. So acknowledging the use of AI tools is just as important as doing citation when you are writing a paper just with your own brain. It is crucial for transparency and integrity. It is crucial for making sure your students are using those critical thinking skills and using these tools responsibly. So incorporating AI tools into assignments means that you must use clear acknowledgement that you have used AI in your paper, just like you would any other source. So here is how we acknowledge that just in a list. But I want to draw your attention to the examples because we do have these available for everyone to look at and use. So formatting your acknowledgement here, this is a pre-formatted example of what an AI acknowledgement could look like. And below we have different types of the uses, from generated text use to generated image use. What happens if you, again, revise that prompt? You must cite both times. So this is for the revised text. And if you or your student decides to use no AI at all, it is also good to acknowledge that there was no tools used for that purpose in this project or paper. Below that, you will see other references and further resources for your use in using yourself or teaching your students about using AI. And that is what I have. So thank you for listening to my portion of the presentation, and I'm going to throw it back to Michelle.
Right. Thank you again, everyone. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for having us on this webinar. Please be on the lookout for upcoming workshops for both students and faculty, as well as updates on the renovation of our spaces and the revision of our services. So hope everybody has a great afternoon.